Doug. Please stand for the pledge, the flag, and please silence your devices. I've made this mistake myself. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Roll call of the commission, please. Ms. Kelly.
Audrey Byer.
Here.
Fred Turco.
Here.
Wade Jenkins.
Present.
Larry Marshall.
Here.
Sarah Bluthal.
Here.
Michael Fedlin.
Here.
We have a quorum. Looks like we're just missing Doug. Right? So we're good there. So we may conduct business. So approval of the agenda is next. Now, Deborah said that item C is not to happen tonight, so I need a motion to amend the agenda.
Move to amend the agenda to remove business item 7C from our agenda.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? None? Okay.
I would move to approve the agenda as submitted.
All in favor? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? None? Okay. Agenda's approved. We're good there. Approval of the May 21st, 2026 meeting minutes consisting of 5 minutes of meeting. I see no changes.
Are you sure it was 5?
That's what Kelly
May
said.
21st, correct?
Huh?
May 21st.
Correct.
There is a correction I'd like to make. Obviously, by this, I was in 2 places at one time.
Oh, that's right. I did notice that.
It was May 9th.
It was May 21.
May 21.
And so
Is the meeting.
Audrey shows as being here and Audrey shows as being absent.
Me too.
And Michael shows as being here and Michael shows as being
So
absent.
I'd like to make a change
Yeah.
to remove my name from being present.
And
I would also like to make that change to remove myself from being present.
we have 5. We did have Sarah. We had 5. Did we have 5 or 4? Everybody else
I
was
think you
here?
had 4.
Who else was me? I was here. Dwayne was here for that.
Every time.
Larry
I was not.
was not here.
Doug?
Okay.
Can we please remove Larry Marshall? Oh, I didn't.
Please remove Larry Marshall, Audrey Byer, and Michael Sedlak from the roll call of that meeting. We had 4. We barely had a quorum.
Things happen.
Things happen. All right, we do have change. So, that being said, formal motion.
I move to approve the meeting minutes of May 21st as amended.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. Okay. That's out. Call to the public now for limited to agenda items only. And if you have something to discuss that is a business item, and you're an applicant here, then that can be yours to discuss then. But is there anybody that would like to speak on anything? Okay? None? Then we'll close that. And we'll move on to business item 7A. So discussion on noxious weed ordinance amendment / noxious weed ordinance, easy to say, / invasive plant species control. So we have someone, Mr. Craig,
Mr. Holmes? Yeah.
would like to speak?
Yes.
Please, tell us. We read through your, I know I have, but please, and you're not limited to 3 minutes. You're on the agenda, so tell us what you're thinking.
Well, the first question I have is,
I did send the materials, and if anybody read through them and had any burning questions, you know, I can try to answer those, but I can try to provide a little context. I'd like to thank first, though, Deborah for allowing us the agenda spot, and Leland Coons for being very helpful in dealing with a difficult situation that this really sources from in our neighborhood with, I guess, one comment I wanted to make to the Planning Commission is, you know, things have, I've lived here for 26 years. We've lived in the same house over here on Silver Lake for 26 years. And things have changed. The nature of our association has changed. It's very loosely run. They've basically come into meetings and said that unless there's an ordinance, we're not going to invoke our rules. The rules, you know, are ancient also. I mean, they were written in 1999 to address a pro forma view of how you'd run a PUD in this type of setting. So, I mean, I was president of the association for 7 years. I concede that they could use some revision. But the most consistent thing that we've been able to point to is ordinances. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to come in front of you guys and talk about this weed ordinance. Yes, this issue does source from a local situation, but if you project it out, you could see how this could occur in other residential settings. The core issue, as I'm reading the ordinances, is a differentiation between invasive species and noxious weeds. In the document that I sent you a picture of the invasive garlic mustard that we're trying to fight off. We've been picking it for several years, and I'm sorry, I have to refer to our neighbor. They moved in and they haven't mowed their yard in 18 months since they moved in. They just don't maintain their property. Leland's had to mow out front and had to threaten them with mowing out front and whatnot. So, but that doesn't extend onto their property, and that's one of the reasons why I'm suggesting that with our lots being just more than 1 acre, if he had the right to tell them that they needed to control invasive species on their property, it would go a lot more than anything our association could ever do. So that's the basis for my suggestion. I try to look for the simplest thing that could be done that would have the least impact township-wide. You know, my view is this is only going to come up when people can identify an invasive species and say, wait a minute, you know, stop this stuff from migrating throughout our neighborhood. And it's not just in our yard, it's moving all the way down Silver Lake Road, and it's on the other side.
So pardon me for a sec, this is right down this way, right at the hilltop?
Yeah. My address is 10271.
Okay.
And we're the 11th out of 12 houses along in this development. Our development, just for those of you that aren't aware, there's a little piece in there too about that. We actually own this whole land out here, this wetland out here. It's a parcel.
Back by the river?
Right. Oh, it goes out to the river from behind the properties along Silver Lake and over here too on Fernbrook. So there's about 25 acres out there, and there's 23 houses in our development, about 50-50 along Silver Lake and over here. So, I mean, there's weeds everywhere, but really the issue is the invasive part of it and the spread of, in our case, garlic mustard. Early this spring, believe me, I'm the last person that wants to see anything change with regard to farm animals and keeping animals and all of that. I think the ordinances are great in that, but I reached out to this guy who does goatscaping, and he gave me a quote, and he told me that he could clear the property and it would take a couple of years. And I subsequently checked with Deborah and Leland and found out that would not be legal in the township as things stand now. So that's what also set me off onto this, is because we not only need something that's going to stop the migration throughout the neighborhood, but then we have to abate our own property too. So, I mean, that's the essence of it. I mean, really, I think I've covered those are my points. I realize I'm retired licensed professional engineer. I realize that ordinance and code changes have to be viewed in a wide perspective across the township, but I think there's ways that you could differentiate between invasive and noxious in order to have it only come up under those circumstances where, now I'm not suggesting that the township say, okay, we're on an invasive weed eradication campaign. No invasive weed will be in existence in Green Oak Township. Only when it comes up and only when one person isn't controlling it. And I mean, this shouldn't even be happening because you don't have invasive weeds as your whole front yard. And that's what I got for a neighbor, right now. So that leads me to be in front of you to discuss this. Now, our association, like I say, if there's an ordinance that says, look, you can't do this, they will then drag kicking and screaming act. See, they just don't want to enforce anything on their neighbors. They just don't have the will to do that. When I was board president, we tried to take a light hand, but I mean, they mess up on other things like not putting liens on properties that don't pay dues, and I mean, it's just completely hands off at this point.
We've heard of homeowner associations that are much tighter controls than that, so.
Well, ours is a weird one because we have the road and that's it. I mean, I mentioned to Deborah that, you know, people come in front of people a lot of times with a lot of good ideas and a lot of suggestions, but they don't have any solutions and they don't have any way to pay for those solutions. And, you know, I can't commit to anything today, but we have money in reserve to deal with issues of a community-wide nature. So we could, you know, leverage that into paying for whatever abatement ends up being legal and acceptable to the township. My wife and I are gonna have to do something to control it because it's just gonna take over our whole front. And like I said, we've lived here for 26 years and invested a lot of time and effort. We've got a lot invested in the community. We're just not gonna let it go. You know, that's it. So that's my spiel. I've taken up plenty of you guys' time. Questions,
Mr.
comments?
Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is the lowlands leading up to the river, is that community association property, or is all of it controlled by the individual lots?
It's community association property. There's one parcel, and I gave Deborah the parcel number. I can pass it along again. There's one parcel, and it was transferred from, you've been around for a long time, so Marshall.
Marshall Blau.
Yeah, okay, you guys know. Oh, it was transferred from him to us in like 2008. We know little about it other than what it's platted out on, you know, to be. I did mention on the zoning map that, you know, I know the zoning map isn't intended to be, well, I guess it's intended to be very accurate, but at the same time, there's so much detail there. There probably are some little minor modifications to the zoning map to properly show exactly where the wetlands.
But there is a common area
Right.
there. Are the invasive weeds throughout that common area, or are they isolated to the individual properties?
I don't really have access to the way it is there's a green belt behind each property, but I mean, I can't go back behind there.
I'm pulling it up right here.
Where it likes to grow is on the edge of woods in wooded areas. So, yeah, I would say that it probably has not infected the wetland because it does not like that full sun like that.
Is that it, Deborah? Where my cursor is?
No,
No, I don't know where that's at.
it's see Fernbrook Center.
Further to
Fernbrook.
the west.
Fernbrook.
Right, which is
There you
right
go.
up at 23, I'm sorry, Fieldcrest,
I mean,
and it's right there.
It's this,
Yep.
Yes, and this line
160.
does actually, that burgundy line does actually depict the property correctly.
Okay.
Okay.
We have some lots of but this stuff likes to grow in the edge of woods where light filters
So
in.
limited sunlight.
So I doubt if it's heavily in,
All right.
you know, it
Okay.
might a little bit into the green belt area.
Okay.
Questions, thoughts? Dwayne?
Do any of your neighbors share your concern?
Yes.
I wonder why they're not here.
I didn't ask them to come. I told them I'd represent our concerns to the board.
You know, you've
I mean, I can get more names for you if you'd like, but, I mean, I don't really see, I mean, I'm here.
So we're having a discussion tonight.
Yeah.
That's fine. In this forum, it's very appropriate. Of course, other people's opinions count, and that would be helpful. And speaking of other opinions, have you sought out professional help? For instance, an arborist or a forester caretaker.
Yes, sir. Yes, I've spoken with, well, I tried to get in contact with the Huron River Watershed Council to see what kind of recommendations they might have. Then I reached out to the DNR and the MSU Extension Office, and all they would do is give me basically links to sites that tell you that there's 3 options to go with: either pull it when it's in the spring, spray it, or, I mean, frankly, they say this goatscaping. It's got a 2-year cycle. So I got with them. I've got a quote from a guy who does forestry mulching that would take and basically mulch all the leaves up in the front. And I mean, he said I could do that, but it would only make it worse in the end because of the 2-year cycle of the plant.
Correct.
I got a quote from somebody to spray it, which we don't want to do because the runoff would go right in front of our neighbor's well head and right down into the Huron River. I mean, that's the way the geometry of the site is. That's what would happen.
And
So,
that's assuming that they would be using some toxic chemical by your definition.
Roundup or something.
Well, yeah.
whatever, I mean, I don't want to do that. I mean, I think that would still be legal, I guess, but that's not our desired approach at all. And whatever they would put on would be toxic at some level. Now, if there's something that isn't, as bad as Roundup, I mean, we could look to use that. I mean, obviously we would, but.
And I would advocate for that as your first choice, your first move.
Advocate for what?
To find an alternate chemical as opposed to Roundup.
Sure.
I want to just stress that that's the least of our favorable options among all the options.
Well, again, get the opinion of a professional arborist. Making calls is one thing, but getting somebody on site.
I did have them on site. I'm an arborist?
Yeah.
Well, okay, an arborist deals with trees.
That's typically trees, yeah, that term.
No, it's not. It's trees and bushes, woody bushes. It's on Google. I looked it up. It must be true.
Well, I mean,
Must be true.
It must be.
Okay, the person that came out to, look at spraying, I mean, they just said we'd spray it and it'd die. I mean, I have an ongoing, dialogue with Davy Tree, and I've had an arborist out to look at, okay, since you mentioned it, I've had an arborist out to look at the dying trees on my neighbor's property that are threatening our property. Their retaining wall failed. They've been cited by the township for that too. Retaining wall failed, and it's continuously in a state of failure. And trees are leaning, and one of them's, falling over. So, I mean, they haven't done anything about it. That's been more than a year. I had an arborist out to take a look at the trees that are on the property line, so I could document if they do fall on our house, that I would have a legal case. I mean, an arborist I can call them, but I really don't think they're gonna tell me anything about putting Roundup on weeds. That's not what they do.
Okay, well, I suggest that you expand your search. I think you'll be surprised at some non-toxic products that are out there. Who knows? Could be something as simple as vinegar. Who knows?
Well, it's a 2-year cycle. We're fighting it. I mean, this year, the goat guy already told me that it doesn't even matter this year. They won't eat it now. I mean, they even have a cycle when they really like eating it versus when they won't eat it at all. And they won't eat it now, so we'd be looking at next year and the year after for that. I mean, yeah, that's one part of it. The second part of it is the migration of an invasive plant species and whether that matters or not. We can't control that all on our own property.
And that is the difficult issue here, is even in your own notes, you talk about your neighbors and that seed, if you will, is coming over from your neighbors and across the street.
Mhm.
So how's anybody ever gonna police that and come to a final conclusion?
Well, the existing mitigations are that I believe someone pays the county pays someone to mow the other side of the ditch. At least that would help some. That doesn't happen very often. I'm not sure even how many times a year. So, you know, somebody's supposed to be doing that. If, as I was mentioning, if we had some sort of lingo in the ordinance about invasives, we could leverage that to get the people in our neighborhood, who are, many of them are among the prime people where this is coming from, to do something. I'm sorry, the association and talking to people who aren't going to do anything and have moved in and didn't mow their yard for 18 months, do you really believe that they're gonna do anything? I mean, normal people just move in and start mowing their yard. We've never lived in a place like this where people just don't do it.
My understanding is those are some pretty nice houses, too.
Yeah. They're selling for, our neighbors bought, for $650. And they moved in and don't do anything.
Why
I don't
you
get
take
it.
care
I
of
just
your
don't
yard?
get it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, because I know we have ordinances about if your yard gets over 6 inches tall,
Right.
the township will charge you to mow it, right?
Well, see, that says, it's the 1 acre thing, okay? Our lots are like 1.15 acres. So if it's 1 acre, it says that the ordinance officer can enforce that across the entire property. If it's more than 1 acre, then they can't enforce it across the entire property, only the first 50 feet on the front of the property.
Okay.
Again, leveraging, one of the suggestions I made was, proposed was that you go to 2 acres or 1.5, or say if invasives are involved, then you've got to control you can't not mow on your property.
Was it the neighbor's intent to go to a native yard when he moved in? Do you know?
Apparently.
I don't know.
Some people do.
I know.
Well,
Just go
I
native.
know.
Yeah, that's fine if you're not dealing with invasive species that are
Right.
that
Yeah,
are impinging on
exactly.
others. But I don't know what their intent is. Their situation is odd, that's all I'll say.
That's nicely put. Sarah?
Well, okay, if you guys want to take a look, just drive down here and look at it. It's the one next to 10271 Silver Lake Road, and you can see just how well it fits into the community and just what sort of presentation it makes to what I consider the gateway of our town, right?
Which one is yours? Right here where the cursor is?
No, we're on 022.
022.
Yeah. And
10271.
the subject property we've been discussing is 021. Like I said, Leland's done all he can. He's been helpful. He's had them mowed. He's called them and told them to mow it.
Grabowski. Okay.
What happened, the way this whole thing started was, there was a house that sat vacant for like a year and a half, and they didn't mow anything. They just let it go and go and go and go, and that's when that stuff really took off. That wasn't them. It was a couple doors down from them.
Sarah, thoughts, questions?
Thoughts are, this is a very tough subject. Maybe the people that live there think that some people find a lawn environmentally incorrect, and they want to go natural.
Oh, natural.
Our ordinance, like you were saying, we can make them cut the grass if it's this size of a yard, but when it's a little bigger, they can do that. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But when it's a noxious or invasive species, I don't know what the answer is to handle that.
It's a tough one. It shouldn't even come up. That's why, I'm just telling you guys, it shouldn't even be an issue that you have to even deal with.
I grew up on a farm. You're not allowed to let your hayfield go native, because then all the weeds.
Right, they all blow into everybody
neighbor.
else's, right.
I'm also grew up on a farm with goats, and I know goats eat everything. So I'm kind of on the fence here about, although we have an ordinance.
Right.
So we got to kind of be careful here. And, You know, yeah, if I wanted to have a party in my yard for my granddaughter with goats dressed as pixies, that'd be fine. But keeping them in your yard for a day or more days, we see the issue with, does that count as keeping livestock? So we do have,
That's a tough one too, because
That's a
goats
tough
are
one.
considered a very good source of taking care of noxious and
I agree.
invasive
Well,
plants.
They eat anything.
The kid who came out, I mean, I call him a kid, he's a young man, he's got a business, he's actually, it's a franchise business, it's called Goats to Go. And I told him, look, I'm not even gonna go in front of anybody and suggest anything, you know, of a solid nature until I know you have insurance and that you're covered. And he didn't have it at the time, but he has since he listened to me and got insurance. So he's insured now. I mean, I don't know what limits he's got.
Well, let's say, for the sake, let's say he brought in 10 goats or something. How would he keep those goats in their place?
He's got an electronic fence that he uses, that he puts around the entire border area.
Therein lies another problem, because you can't have an electric fence residential area.
It's temporary.
I know, but.
I don't know how that works.
Kids-
I'm not sure how that works.
Invisible fence,
Yeah,
like a dog.
invisible.
You know,
It's an invisible fence?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
kind that you use
you
for a
just lay out-
dog or
Just lay
whatever.
out a wire.
And the goats have little things on them and they stay in that area.
Is that true?
And then
When
he
you put in
goes around
stakes?
them up.
No, he said he puts something on the ground and he puts a thing on their neck. It
Yeah,
sounded like a
that's the
dog
invisible.
fence
Invisible
to me.
fence.
The other thing that he said first, I'm like, no, absolutely not, was, he's like, oh, they'll stay here overnight. No, no. You know,
See,
I mean,
that's where we get into keeping.
right.
That's what, we have to be careful with this, is keeping or
No,
raising.
right.
So, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
I've read an ordinance that was quite extensive and it addressed all those, you know, I mean, I know I'm suggesting that would be a new ordinance and all of that. It was really extensive and it addressed all those things, including things like emergency response and animal husbandry, and, I mean, it was a myriad of concerns that were addressed.
Where was that ordinance from? I mean.
Yeah, I just found it it was like in Oregon, I think, or something.
Okay.
Of course.
Of course.
I mean, it was really,
10,000 acres, you can have all the goats you want. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, they walk down the road in Oregon.
I know.
So the question I have, you said that this is starting to propagate throughout the neighborhood, if you will, within your association. Is this something that your neighbors would consider doing en masse?
we could try that.
And would that then, and I'm only asking
Consider doing what? Using the goats? or-
Abatement.
for a larger area rather than an individual, and then classify it as a, I don't want to say region, but a localized area, denoxious weeding. Do you know where I'm headed with this?
Yes, definitely. If I can share
you
some
could-
thoughts. Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Okay, so it sounds like this is being discussed as possibly, well, a civil matter, a zoning, a way to address it with zoning, or a way to address it with a general code ordinance change. Since we're talking about the temporary keeping of animals, that's not really a land use. So this would be more appropriate as a general code ordinance, because, and it's also easier to enforce that way if it lives in the general code of ordinances. Then you can get into the real nitty-gritty of the type of fencing that's required, and you're not restricted to parcel size based on zoning district, but you can regulate based on coordinated area
Correct.
much more easily.
You saw where I was going with it, though. Rather than an individual yard, make a group effort, you know,
It's a
do
neighborhood association thing.
a neighborhood association thing. Do you then make it, or can you then make it much like road maintenance, where there's an SAD for road maintenance?
Oh, that's-
You see where I'm going with
Sure.
this?
Then the neighborhood association pays.
If you make it an SAD on a biannual or a bi-yearly basis to have, I gotta think of the correct word for it, naturalized invasive weed removal service,
Well put.
Natural.
If it's on a
I'm
two-year.
sorry, I'm trying to help.
Organic.
Organicized.
And, I mean, I agree with you that it needs to be in the general ordinance. It's not a land use issue. But this is a great opportunity to discuss this with the future clerk, that maybe it's brought up at the township board level.
Hint, hint.
But on a serious basis, though, this might be an opportunity for us, because this is not the first time we've had this type of request. So, as we thought outside the box for data centers, maybe we should think outside the box and to try to find a solution for this that will be amenable to all. One of the concerns that I have, though, and I'll be happy to state it, is that when you bring that type of barnyard animal in, you now have a situation where we're already at being, I don't think it's reached a regulated state yet, but they're monitoring E. coli in all of our streams. And the streams in all the streams in our area and the streams that are fed into them are getting E. coli levels measured, because we have sewer treatment plants, we have ground runoff, we have this and that. So my concern, and would need to be addressed, is, do we tie a catch bucket to the back of each goat? I'm being facetious about that, but how do we deal with the feces runoff and E. coli that'll get into our streams? I mean, it's just as concerning from a health and safety and welfare aspect to that as it would be for Roundup. It still kills.
Or for a leaking septic field.
Correct. It's just a thought, but I think that if we're going to look at this, we have to look at all aspects of it. Do we have kind of like on the old Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons, a guy following behind the elephant, cleaning up the feces of the goats? I mean, we can go to extremes, but it is something we need to consider if we decide to move forward on this.
I do believe that was in that sample ordinance that I read, how they
So,
address that.
so you could do us a favor and do the research, find the ordinance again, and ship it off to the planning and zoning administrator after June 30th.
I can do that.
I like
That'll be a free lunch for me.
I like the idea. I mean, goats are much better than Roundup. Right.
Well,
But the problem is we can't set precedents with things without limitations.
correct.
It's a 2-year cycle weed, then it has to be controlled, or you have to stand in front of it.
Yeah, you have to get,
Usually, yeah.
But this is what I'm thinking, if we make it part of an SAD, road maintenance, i.e.
Right.
noxious weed maintenance, then maybe we can find a way around this by, if the residents in the affected area all agree to an SAD,
Agree to a fee, to a cost,
to a cost to be done on a yearly or bi-yearly basis,
beneficial.
to bring in a natural removal of noxious weeds, we might make it work.
you could get
Because
ahead of
then
it.
it's not a general ordinance township-wide unless they want it and can affect it. Because like any SAD, you're gonna have to have over 50%, close to 60%.
66%. or Mark won't approve.
66% of the people within the district agree to it. It's a path. I'm just saying it's worth exploring.
And it's not a major cost like we redid my neighborhood's streets. That was 10 grand a piece. This is to be much less than that per.
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as the SAD goes, I'm somewhat familiar with that. I mean, I can tell you right now, we wouldn't get the 60% because it doesn't affect 60% of the properties.
It would
Now,
eventually though, and you can point that out.
well, but let me finish. We might be able to get 100% of it funded by a much smaller percentage of people.
But then you're down, now we're back to a
the
smaller
impacted.
area
Yeah.
where it impacts a few properties, and now we're running into the interference with the ordinances. Whereas if it was for a larger area and impacted a larger area, then we could, maybe, we have to investigate it, be able to find a way around it via SAD.
It's good
Just a
thinking.
thought.
It's good thinking outside the box,
I like that.
because we hear you and we see your issue. And I think we all commiserate with you and can't make a neighbor. I mean, you could go mow their lawn, but they probably don't want you to.
Anyhow, those
No,
are my
no, I
thoughts.
don't want that.
Thank you for coming in.
All right?
Anything else? I appreciate that's enough time on
Now,
that.
it's a good discussion.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
We'll go over this some more. Okay, good discussion on noxious weed ordinance amendment. See what we can do,
I
and
just got a text, a guy wants to rent me 7 goats.
does he? I'll take 4, I got poison ivy.
Oh, I got, the woods have poison ivy too.
All right. Item 7B, site plan approval request, parcel number 4716-08 dash, I lost my tab. Dash 100-015, also known as 7250 Whitmore Lake Road, Brighton, Michigan, 48116. Wyman Gordon is requesting approval of a site plan for a proposed 59,643 square foot building addition. That's a nice big building.
Yes.
Michelle, if we start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To clarify, it's a new building on the north portion of the parcel. It's not a building addition. But this site should be very familiar to you all because they recently did have a building addition. Also, as a note, in your packet, the review that's dated May 27th identifies a few outstanding items that are remaining. The applicant has since addressed all of the outstanding items that I had in my review, but I'll just bring it up as I give you a brief overview of what the project is. Also, the ZBA did grant them a variance from the 50-foot height maximum, so they are permitted a 68-foot tall building, which is what you see in the plans. The westernmost internal drive that's already there is going to extend northward to the new building, and there's a net increase of exactly 30 parking spaces and a relocation of a dumpster enclosure in order to accommodate the new building. Other than that, the site access remains the same as it currently is. The applicant did clarify that the loading spaces are 10 by 50 in compliance with the ordinance standards, and they definitely have sufficient parking. The landscaping islands, what you see in the plan shows the correct area of the landscaping islands to meet the ordinance standards. There's a table that showed the incorrect area on that same plan sheet. That has been corrected, but what you see visually is compliant with the ordinance, and that's what they're offering. The applicant also did change the trees along that western property line that's used for screening from deciduous to evergreen in order to comply with the ordinance standards. And they also added one additional tree along the east property line because we round up always. We don't do up-down rounding. The big point of discussion will be the floor plan, the elevations. This is a large manufacturing building, so the floor plans just show manufacturing space and then smaller office spaces. But the siding is, it's metal siding. And as you all know, we have a standard that requires the buildings in the LI district be constructed or faced with stone, brick, decorative block, or material approved by the Planning Commission. So Wyman Gordon is again pitching their case. They provided supplemental documents for the argument for why they want the deviation from that standard and want their material to fall under that or material approved by the Planning Commission that is allowed for in the zoning ordinance. I'll also note that they reduced the color temperature of their lighting to 3,500 Kelvin. Thank you. And Rick, I reached out to him today. He has no notes that would prohibit site plan approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Proposed building is not visible to Whitmore Lake. Am I correct? Right, proposed building right there where the cursor is. Screened, the other businesses. That is typically where we would let that masonry qualification slide. You guys come on up.
That was the reason that we allowed the previous building, the
Right.
previous expansion.
Right.
And you can see that between Brighton NC and who is to the north, that's open, and that you will see the building there.
These trees here, though, where the cursor is, seem to block
In the summer.
in the summer. Okay. Gentlemen, give us your thoughts. State your name, please.
Sure. I'm Andrew Walters with Metro Consulting Associates. I'm the civil engineer for the project.
Craig Stockard, Brevard Construction.
Andrew Rockwell with Wyman Gordon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pen's dying. Go ahead.
I think everything stated is correct. I would like to make one point on the parking. It is actually only a net increase of one space. The majority of the parking spaces are relocations from parking spaces that already exist on the site. But if you have questions about the specific use, Wyman Gordon can ask about that. Otherwise, I believe that we've provided a site plan that meets all the requirements of your ordinance. I think the only issue that of discussion here is the building material.
Yeah, so if you remember, we make aerospace powdered metal, and the material that we make has a very high cleanliness standard. And so even dust floating around in the air is enough to contaminate our material and then makes it not suitable to fly in airplanes. One of the biggest contaminations that we find on a regular basis is concrete. And so that is a very difficult thing to eliminate, but we have put epoxy on our floors. We've tried to reduce the amount of concrete everywhere possible in our process due to the large amount of contamination that we find, despite our best efforts to eliminate it.
I remember we went over this before, and you gave us examples of this little teeny particle means this whole batch has to be thrown out.
Exactly.
You're making turbine blades.
Turbine discs,
Something
yes.
like that.
Yep.
And you have a concrete company as your neighbor.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
The idea has been thrown out to buy that company just to shut it down. Now, obviously, that didn't provide any fruit there, but
I know the owner. I'd be happy.
Happy to negotiate.
Put in work for you.
I was good friends with the previous owners.
But that's why we're taking extra expenses to create clean rooms in our environment that has HEPA filtration. We're air conditioning the entire environment to make sure that there's less chances of doors being open out to the outside. Like I said, we're added an enormous amount of cost to the building to reduce materials, even paint, but especially concrete and those types of things to try to reduce the contamination. And we recently took on a new customer that has an even higher standard of cleanliness requirements. They don't allow paint in certain areas of the shop where the contamination risk is high. So there's quite a few things that we go through painstakingly to try to make sure that our material is good and meets our customer qualifications. And concrete is not one thing that they like to see.
This is a very unique business in our township. Very.
I've been into buildings doing confined space rescue training many times over the years. And I will say that it's one of the few buildings that I can go in and do training in and come out and still be clean.
Well, now you
Appreciate
can do
that.
it at 68 foot tall. Yeah.
68 feet tall. Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Thoughts, Mr. J?
So there's the addition that was been ongoing, that's winding down, that's almost completed. This new building, another piece of the footprint, is there any real estate left that would allow further build-out of the property?
No. No, they're pretty much, at this point, they're lot coverage and due to the retention that's required for the site, it pretty much maxes them out.
And parking spaces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are areas that they could park, but they haven't chose to do so at this time.
That's all I got. I have no concerns about the variance regarding the facade. It's simply being consistent if we approve it.
I myself don't either, considering the need for the cleanliness of this facility and the uniqueness of what you're manufacturing. Sarah?
That's just what I was going to say. I was going to say, I have no problem with the siding or the material used because of the uniqueness of your business. I mean, that isn't needed in any other
I don't think we're setting any
situation.
precedents because of the uniqueness of the business and,
I think it's pretty cool.
and the need. For
Yeah,
Yeah, when I first found out the last time what you make, I'm like, really?
right. I
They
think
do
you were
that here,
excited,
up the
yeah.
street? That's cool.
Uh,
Larry?
Yeah, so
Sarah?
that's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. I think that I have no problem with that. Basically because of that, I don't think we're setting a precedent because they have an actual need for that, to keep doing their
Can't be any
business.
cement around, you want us to put masonry block on our walls? Then it gets inside.
Oh, yeah.
Larry?
I agree.
It's, yeah, it's the first time that something like that has bubbled up.
Right?
So, I agree.
Or we don't want it bubbling up.
Correct.
You don't want it bubbling up. Michael?
I have a couple questions and comments. How far from Whitmore Lake Road is that building?
In totality, it's,
Hold on a second.
Who didn't decide this?
Is it the picture?
Trying to get.
Yeah, I'm going.
So the property line is 705 feet, and then the building is set off of the, is set off of that property line.
Think so?
Another 84 feet. So,
It's 184 feet?
84 feet from the property line, about 705 feet from the road.
From 705 feet from Whitmore Lake Road?
From Whitmore Lake Road to the property line, and then another 84 feet to the building. So it's almost
so
800
almost
feet.
789
So
feet.
I was having a brain fade there.
800 feet away.
We have to take out the distance of Brighton NC machine.
Correct.
Sorry. So we're looking at well over 800 feet
Almost 800.
to the front of the building from Whitmore Lake Road. I certainly, in personal opinion, wouldn't consider that building frontage. That's
No.
readily seen, but to be the fly in the ointment, have you explored other materials other than concrete? There are many man-made materials that are not concrete, that could be for facing, other
Plastic.
than metal.
Plastic. It looks like concrete.
What's that other stuff? Fiberglass?
None that would meet the structural integrity of the building that's needed to support their equipment.
Fair enough. It was a question that needed to
Yep.
be answered, though.
Yep.
You've explored other materials.
Yes, sir.
And the other materials that you explored will not provide the structural support that either the metal or concrete would provide.
Correct.
Is that what I'm hearing you
That
say?
is correct.
Then I have no objection.
We all seem to be in agreement, so a motion would be in order.
I'll make the motion. Larry, you okay with it?
Yeah. Okay.
Make a motion to approve the site plan approval request for the Wyman Gordon new building project on parcel number 4716-08-100-015 at 7250 Whitmore Lake Road.
Support. Oh, sorry.
Nope, go for
You
it.
fight over it. All right, we have a motion, we have support. Is there any other discussion? A roll call vote, please, Kelly.
Yes.
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 Good luck.
Thank you.
very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for supporting our township. Okey dokey. Then that's 7C is complete. Item 8 is reports. Chairman's report, I have nothing tonight. Township Board Representative.
So, a lot of things happened last evening at the Township Board meeting. One of the first was that the Township Clerk submitted their resignation effective June 30th. The board then appointed our current zoning and planning administrator to the position of clerk.
Madam Clerk.
Effective July 1. Following that up, the board then promoted Ashley Kaska, thank you, to the new planning and zoning administrator. The mentor,
Current employee, excuse
Is
me.
an employee.
I met her the other.
and she has been, had the privilege of being mentored by our current planning and zoning administrator for about 6 months now, is catching on very, very quickly. And this is a great progression, certainly well-qualified education-wise and learning quick as can be. Third action by the board was that because the sitting clerk is the township board representative to the planning commission, that can no longer be done effective July 1st. So I will be leaving the planning commission at that time. And the board then assigned the responsibility of township board representation to the incoming clerk. Debbie will be coming on to the planning commission effective July 1st. So a wealth of knowledge will be coming on.
You get to sit here.
Township board representative gets to sit wherever the hell they.
She can have whatever spot she wants. We'll move Larry over.
That's right. I'll sit in the corner.
I've sat here for 16.
From my standpoint, I've been on the planning commission for about 25 years. And I preceded you, didn't I, Sarah? Yeah, so it's about 25 years. It's been a hell of a ride. I've really enjoyed it. I'd like to find a way to stay on. We'll have to see how that goes. And then the last thing that the board did last night, which was kind of a unique situation, is that they introduced an ordinance to amend the ordinances to create a new division within the administrative control of the township, and that division will be contract negotiation responsibility. And then approved with that is the position, contract or new hire, or however they wish to do it, of the contract negotiations director. That ordinance will be adopted at the next meeting. And if all goes as we've been kind of moving along, I'll be assigned that position to continue to negotiate the police and fire contracts for the township until such time as I can train the incoming clerk and treasurer to take over that task. So it's a very bittersweet meeting last night. A lot of wet eyes. Pretty cool, though. So I want to thank you all for the support that you have given me for the years that I've been on this commission.
Thank you, Michael.
I hope to be back to it again.
Your institutional knowledge is a wealth.
It's tremendous.
All the years you've been in here. And you remember stuff pretty good.
Or that may go away, who knows?
We appreciate, oh, it will go away. We appreciate you, and congratulations, Deb.
Yes, welcome aboard.
Very good. All right,
That's the clerk's report.
thank you, sir.
Excellent.
For years of,
Next meeting will be my last.
beers in the parking lot. After.
Okay.
Okay, then. Zoning Board of Appeals Representative, Sarah.
This is June, so we will not have a meeting this month, but we did have one last month. I think I reported
Yeah, I
that
think-
on the last meeting. Do we have one in July? So no meeting till September.
Planning consultant, do you have more for us, Michelle?
At the joint meeting that we had earlier this year with the board, we discussed a comprehensive update to the zoning ordinance. And the first article that Paul and I have been working on is the PUD article. So you can expect in one of the future meetings for us to bring the draft that we've been working on for you all to begin discussing. Seems like a good place to start.
Excellent.
I myself would like to request you to draw up perhaps something about chickens
Ah.
So,
on more than 5 acres.
I'm gonna
Now
interrupt
that
that
the,
as
now
well.
that the goat guy's back.
The chickens and goats issue, and even more so with the chickens, with the E. coli runoff into the streams. It's becoming a more of an issue, and it needs to be addressed. I know that people feel that they should be able to have chickens. However, it becomes a health, safety, and welfare of the township, rest of the residents.
Our discussion was basically if it's, say, over 5 acres, and say it's 1,000 yards from a watershed or something.
There's going to be very few areas within the township that you're going to be
Right.
less or more than 1,000 yards from any watershed, because the entire township is a watershed into the existing water infrastructure.
That little girl, though, was so precious. That I just wanted to-
Precious as it is, you can't avoid what the outcome is.
I know I've raised chickens too.
They're dirty
Nasty.
animals.
They're not
Goats,
pleasant.
they're way-
Yeah, they're not.
All right, forget what I said.
All right.
We'll discuss that more maybe another time. Correspondence, Deborah, you left us a book here. More?
We will be having a public hearing on the data center, the location for improper notice. So it will be again on the agenda,
We gotta do another one?
yes. And after that, we will do an update to the amendment. So I already published the posting for the upcoming meeting, the next one. So the data center map will be back on it.
I would like an officer in the back row. Okay?
Request.
I mean it. People can
What is
get,
that?
I would like a police officer in the back row
For what subject?
for the
Data
public
center.
hearing on a data center.
The data center
People can get a
ordinance.
little,
We've had
Why
a
are
data
we-
center
We had-
public.
I guess I'm a little,
it was
So
improperly.
The notice was done improperly with the map, so the county
okay,
rejected it,
okay,
so I had
okay,
to read,
okay.
If we have to have another public hearing on it,
yes,
I want a police officer in the back row.
that's no problem.
Thank you.
Chris, we had 6 people.
That's what I was gonna
I
say.
know, we had a police officer in the back row.
We had 6 people.
There could be more. You know,
But nobody was
nobody was
aggressive
snipping.
or
No,
angry or anything.
I
We had a
agree.
discussion.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
The message that has to go out with this is that it is a reaffirmation of the existing and past previously overlay district. Frame the presentation and you won't have 200 people here. And I think that's how it needs to go out.
Well, has it already been publicly noticed?
It has been publicly
Then
noticed.
it depends how it's
Then-
publicly
then-
But
noticed.
all the notices will go back out to each individual property owner. So, and it's been the same way each time. I mean, we've had 4 public hearings
Okay.
with under 10 people.
Okay, all right, fine. As long as somebody's ready to push that button.
I agree if you want to have police presence here, but I think based on what we've seen and the comments that we've heard and the comments from the public that we've heard after we passed it,
They were very happy that we were proactive on this.
proactive on this
Yes.
rather than reactive. And we have, as a planning commission and as a board, provided, again, keywords, health, safety, and welfare of our residents.
Mhm.
If you want to build a data center, by all means, we welcome you.
Yeah.
But comply with our ordinance.
Comply with our-
It's a little bit inhospitable.
They're tough. Okay. Call to the public. Anyone wish to say anything? Didn't have to be an agenda item. We're all good. Adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good